Well, good evening, YouTube. What a day it's been today. So I'm going to finish off my week 11 by letting you know what's happened since my midweek update. Today is the end of Friday the 26th of May. So last time I left a video, it was Wednesday. Yesterday on Thursday I didn't work due to a pre-arranged appointment, but I had therefore in place my booking for today, calling at Darlington, Carrick, Thirsk and Grimsby as pickups, and then dropping off at High Wycombe. And I worked out before yesterday how long I thought today would take me, and I thought it'd be about 11 hours. So I aimed to get at Darlington no later than 8 o'clock this morning, so that I'd get everything finished in time before the depot closed at 8 o'clock tonight. So I left the house at 4:40 a.m. Unfortunately, due to a bit of misplanning, I didn't get to bed until gone midnight, so I didn't get very much sleep last night. So this morning I made my way to Darlington. It was about a 3-hour trip. Very nice. It was light and nice drive, nice weather, lovely drive up. So I got to my first stop and picked up in Darlington at 8:05, and I'd finished by about 10 to 9. Well, yeah, the other thing I didn't mention before is that these pickups that I do involve some handballing, so they can be half an hour, 3/4 hour, even an hour of handballing sometimes. So then I went on to my next pickup in Carrick, and there happened to be nothing to pick up on this occasion, so that was really easy. Then I went on to Thirsk, got to Thirsk about 10:15, picked up my items from there, and then moved on to Grimsby. And I got to Grimsby and was finished with pick-up by 12:30. So at this point, I'd done all my pickups, and I was then going to just drive down to High Wycombe. But at this point, I thought I can now look at some co-loading. So as I was travelling towards Grimsby, I was looking at potential co-loading after that. And a few came up, and I bid on a few. Again, with my notes saying what I was doing, and didn't get anything before Grimsby to sort of come that was suitable anyway. So when I started to come back from Grimsby towards High Wycombe, I got as far as Lincoln, and then a potential co-load came up. That was 5 minutes from where I was, and when I first saw it, I thought of a price. It was 67 miles going from Lincoln to Kings Lynn, which is a bit out of my way, and I thought I could put £60 on that, and that will pay for my diesel. But I wasn't quite sure because it's about out of my way, and what's the point in £60 just to extend my day? And I thought about it, and I was driving away from the pickup all this time. I got to a roundabout, and it was really the point at which I had to decide what I was going to do. So I put a bid in. I was queuing up at the roundabout. I was turning right, and I got a phone call. I recognised the phone call from the bid. So as I was going around the roundabout, I went all the way around, started heading back to where I'd come, took the phone call, and they offered me the job. I explained the situation. They were fine with the co-loading. So I went and picked up the job. It was one pallet, and when I got there, I was only sort of 5 minutes away. It was due to be picked up about 4 o'clock, and I arrived at 2:15. No, sorry, I think it was due to be picked up at 2 o'clock. 1400, and I arrived at just about 2:15, and I was out by about 5:02. So was quick in and out. It was nice. I like going to this place. The second I've been there, they're really nice guys in the yard, really friendly. So they put the part on, I secured it, and then we went off. I went off down to Kings Lynn. Really nice drive, and I arrived just as traffic was building up, and I was about 10 minutes from my drop-off in PE 30, and I got another potential code that came up from PE 30 going to Dunstable, which is on the way that I was going after Kings Lynn. So I thought I'll try a bit on here. I put £80 on there for the 97-mile trip. And on both of these co-loadings were small van jobs. So they called me and said, I explained I was doing a co-load, and they said that's fine, would I take some money off for doing it as a co-load? So I said, well, if you talk to your customer first, make sure you're happy with. Well, they said they talk to the customer first. I said, okay, talk to the customer first, and then come back to me. If they're happy with the co-load, then we'll talk about price. I got a call back about 30 seconds later, and they wanted me to do the job. I don't think they'd call the customer, to be honest, but they did want me to offer a lower price. So I was in quite a good mood. This was an ideal co-load for me to do. All it was adding on was time, no more miles. So I brought it down by £10 to £70. They tried to bring it down further. I wasn't having any of that, so I just said it's going to be 70. They accepted that. So we got a second co-load, but I had to go, and I was still going to drop off my first co-load, which was a pallet. And this is where it got a little bit dicey. I was about 10 minutes from the first drop-off, and I had 40 minutes to get to my second drop-off, which was 3 minutes away. I got to the factory. First of all, I couldn't quite find the entrance, so I got there about 4 o'clock in the end, and eventually found the office, gave them the paperwork, and then I just stood there waiting for like 10 minutes. Nothing happened, and I was getting inside a little bit anxious that I might run out of time, but I still had like 20 minutes to go. So I just stood there patiently waiting. About 5 minutes later, one of the people came over and said, we're just waiting to find someone to take the load off you. So at least they told me what I was doing there. So I just carried on waiting. Then about 5 minutes later, so it's about 20 past 4, they said there was someone to take it and show me where to go. So I went round to the area where they wanted me to unload, and there's no one there. There was another driver waiting to unload a lorry. Like I imagine it's a 18-ton lorry. I don't know how big these lorries are. It had about room for about 12 pallets, I reckon. So we had a chat with him, and he was waiting to unload as well. And I asked him if he would let me go first. He was really kind and said he would. But the forklift driver wasn't anywhere to be seen. So I was getting down to past, and I had to be at the second co-load pickup at past. So although it was only 3 minutes away, it was getting very tight now. Anyway, at the end, but what happened in the end was that I did get offloaded at past, and I had to get my stuff aside quickly and rush off. And I got to the second co-load pickup place about 5 minutes later than past. But and the gates were locked. Well, the gates were closed. But as I drew up to the gates, there was a guy inside them walking towards me, and so he opened the gate for me, and I said what I was there for. He wasn't sure what was going on, so he called his boss. About 5 minutes later, he came back and he found the package. It was just a box, a cardboard box to take. So I just put the box in my cab on the floor, and then went off from Kings Lynn to Dunstable. Now, I left slightly later than I'd like to, so probably 10 minutes later than I really wanted to, given the leeway I had. But I wasn't given any time that I had to be at my drop-off place for. and Dunstable was about 2 hours away, but traffic was quite busy. So I made my way to Dunstable. Traffic was quite heavy. I didn't get there really until 5 to 7, but there was several units, and I couldn't quite find which unit it was. I had to drive around for a bit. I eventually got to the correct unit number that was on my schedule about 1 minute to 7, and the gates opened for me without me before I got there. So that's lucky. So I went into the gates, parked up, got out of my van, got the box, and then this very brusque employee told me to go follow him. I worked out after a few moments he was brusque because the factory closes at 7 and I was there at 1 minute to 7 and he wanted me to go away. So I quickly put the parcel inside the building he showed me to put it into. I took a photo. I wanted him to sign my POD. He said he wouldn't do it. He basically wanted me to get out. I wasn't going to argue. I was quite grateful that he let me in. That wasn't stuck with his parcel. I'd pushed my luck to get there at 7 and the gate opening, so I just quietly left. I signed the POD and I made sure the photo was showing what it was, and I put a note on the CX as to what happened, i.e. I was letting in my employee, he wanted me to leave quickly and wouldn't sign my form. I find the note system on the CX really useful because they're all time monitored, so as long as you as a driver record everything in the notes, if anything goes wrong, you've always got something to fall back on in the future. So I suppose that's something I've learned in time. So I like about CX is the ability to make notes, both at the pick-up and at the drop-off points. And I did make use of that quite a lot. And I also always put a photo on of the pick-up condition of the item and the drop-off condition of the item where I put them. That's good practice as well. So I had now finished my second co-load. Oh, and so I'd made an extra £130 on the day from those two co-loads. Although I had added quite a lot of time to my day, and I was now pushing getting my original load unloaded in time. I was an hour away from High Wycombe when I unloaded at 7, and the depot closes at 8. So I had to drive as quickly as I could in the speed limit from where I was to High Wycombe, and at every point along the journey my expected time of arrival was 17:59. It didn't change by a minute either way, and I just hoped, being a Friday, that there'd be someone there. As it was, when I got to the depot, there was someone there. There was even someone there to help me unload. And I asked them when they were closing the gates, and they said when this lorry that was in them was loaded, they were going to close it. So I was very lucky again to get my unload unloaded on a Friday afternoon. So today has been a really successful day. I have been working at the utter edge, the absolute edge of my competence. At each point I've managed to successfully navigate the problems of today. So overall, I'm on my way back home now. It's been a really good day and a really good week. So I want to give you the figures, the stats now for today and then for the whole week. So for today, I'm on my way home now, and I've put into my spreadsheet the time that I'm going to be home and the mileage when I get home. So the figures I'm going to give you now will be what will be the end of today. So I will have worked today 18.25 hours. It has been a long day, and I did start feeling it about 2 hours ago. I have earned a total of £510 gross today, but of that I've spent in fuel £83.52 because I've done 653 miles, and I'm basing that on an average fuel price of £12.79 this week. So the important figure for me is my net earnings for today. and that is £426.50. So a really good day. It just goes to show that if you put the effort in, you do make the money. This is what I found anyway. Okay, so to round off the week, I want to give you the stats for the whole week now. So I've worked 3 days this week. I have earned, after the fuel is taken into account, £912, and my income per mile is 67.46 pence, which is the best I've done so far, and that's after fuel's been taken account of. So it's close to 80p a mile if you included my fuel per mile. So that's well over £300 per working day after fuel. So really pleased with that. It seems to be, since I've got to a point now where this is working for me. Right, okay, so I have already explained a couple of things that I learnt today. I will explain just one more thing that I've learnt previously that maybe not everyone knows, but I use quite a lot. And that is, in the CX app, when a job comes up and you have the name of the courier at the top and their CX number, and underneath it usually says hot shot and the type of van that you're going to have. If you actually scroll left along that name, you get an option to save or delete that booking. Now it's the same options you get if you open up the booking and look at the details. But I find that when I want to delete quickly bookings, jobs that I can't do, I do it that way from the alerts page without going into each one. I just swipe left at the top and press delete. I like to keep my alerts page quite clean and tidy, so I tend to delete stuff if it's not going to be so I'm going to bid on. So there's a little tip if you didn't know that, just to quickly get access to the save or delete parts of the system. Thank you very much for listening to my video again today. What have you learnt today?